Hi guys, this is Dr. Saxon with the fifth in a series of videos and screencastifies on classroom management and learning how to put together things so we have an effective learning environment for the school year. Today we're going to take a look about creating rules for the classroom. Remember that creating classroom rules is part of the classroom management process. And what rules do is provide boundaries for the students that they can internalize to know how to behave and how not to behave. And classroom rules are always based on teaching students what is expected, modeling that kind of behavior, providing them with appropriate strategies, and make sure it covers the basic tenets, okay, as many of the things that are important to you in the classroom as possible. And this should be done in the very earliest part of the school year. One of the things we don't want to have is to have a day like this, although all of us have had that kind of experience. Creating effective classroom rules in conjunction with the other things we've talked about will end or avoid having this kind of possibility. So, when creating classroom rules, remember for you, one of the things that makes classroom rules is the way that you present them. Make sure that students know when you talk about this that you are talking about it like you mean it. Sometimes students, in fact, most times students are quite able to read through us and see whether we mean what we say or just saying things because it is the company policy. In your classroom, you have a set of values. Communicate your values through your rules. Keep your list of rules short. Like all of us, kids have a hard time with too much information. Make your rules phrased positively. People respond to positive phrases and things that are clearly laid out in a positive way. Focus on observable behaviors, and then you can also, when you're writing your rules, identify key words that give the students a focus on how to take and behave. First thing that I talked about was communicating your values through your rules. So think about the behaviors in your classroom that you believe support your students' success as learners. A lot of them are pretty simple. Please be respectful of neighbors and work quietly while they are working. Okay? Go through a list and create these kinds of behaviors that can be described and observed. And then create your rules based on what you consider to be the most important learning behaviors. When you make your classroom rules, keep your list of rules short. Choose no more than five rules. Remember, more than five are too many to remember. And one other way to limit your list of rules is to keep them broad in scope. For example, support others in learning may mean helping somebody with an assignment, participating in a group activity, or working quietly. But there you can see how there was a specific rule that's broad, but then what the teacher who crafted this rule has done is explained exactly what that means by those three sub pieces. That's exactly what you want to do in your classroom with rules as well. State what you want students to do positively rather than what they don't do. Too many times we put things in phrases like don't do this and don't do that. And I don't know about you, but my experience with human nature is that as soon as somebody says not to do something, our human nature is to want to do that very thing. So think about how you can state your rule in a positive way. Make sure your rules, okay, can be something that students can see and discern. And so when you provide a rule, make sure your rule looks like, sounds like, and feels like is something that you explain to the students. So when something is being done in the classroom, you can point it out in a positive way. One of the things that, or one of the strategies that I used to use in the class and encourage others to use is something called proximity praise, and that is when I want students to do something that is one of my rules, rather than jumping on a student, I would say, "Oh, congratulations to so and so! I see they got to their seat. They have their workout. Thank you for John for doing the same thing. Thank you to Rob. Thank you to Sally for doing that." And that what happens is you draw attention to the observable behavior, and you also praise the student who is doing what you want them to do. Be clear and specific. And then also, when you're crafting it, make sure that in your rules, what you do is emphasize the keyword by putting them in a different color or underlining them. Finally, here's a quick video on some rules that were to get put together by the Minions.
Welcome to 3 2 Wonder. I'm Dr. Chapman. Today,
And finally, at this point, It's now for you to go and begin creating your own classroom rules. If you've already done that in the past, great. That's what a master teacher does, and it's a best practice. But as you go through and create your classroom rules, here's what you should be looking for, and here's what I'm going to be looking for. Number one, remember, according to this video, that you do no more than five. Make sure that in your classroom rules, there is a positive reward or positive incentive for students to earn as they work in your classroom. There's a number of members on our staff who've already done that. And so you can ask them. And if you're looking for go to people, let me know, and I'll be happy to send you to them. Make sure you're clear and specific about what you expect. Remember when you review your rules with the class, explain exactly what that rule means. And one of the rules that you might want to consider first, and this comes from Lee Cantor, it is the rule that says, give me your attention the first time I ask for it. And I know there's a number of people that have some of those focusing activities like hocus pocus, everybody focus, or counting down 3, 2, 1. But that is a good way to work on managing students' attention when you're trying to get it in the classroom. And finally, one of the things that we're going to look for this year is that in your classroom, you have created a poster and or a place where you have your classroom rules and it's placed prominently in the classroom so all of your students can see it. Okay, guys, hope that this has been helpful. Looking forward to seeing what you come up with and working together to have a amazing year.